Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning for November 9, 2023, cops named suspect after man killed at the gate to KPH. Two men were shot on Wednesday evening just outside the gate to the Kingston Public Hospital in downtown Kingston. One of the men, Robert Marley, who was from a Golden Heights address in Kingston, has since died. The other man has been hospitalized. Reports from the police are that Marley was sitting next to a pan-chicken man at the entrance to the hospital when a gunman approached on foot about 7 p.m. and opened fire, hitting both of them. Since the gun attack, the police have since identified Everoy Smith, otherwise called the Little Giant of Pink Lane, Kingston 14, as a suspect. They have given him until Thursday evening to report to them. Meanwhile, health care workers and others at the facility are concerned following the gun attack. The police have assured them that they will be beefing up their presence in and around the public hospital.
Well, the incident which took place at the gate of the Kingston Public Hospital, we have identified the deceased person to be Robert Marley, and he's from a Golden Heights address. We have identified also a main suspect, Everoy Smith, otherwise called Little Giant, and these are for Pink Lane address in Kingston 14, and we are asking him to surrender to the police at Denhamtown CIB no later than 6 p.m. on Thursday. Yes, and we have realized too that this particular incident have caused some amount of concern to our medical staff and hospital workers at the KPH. We have increased our security forces presence in and around the area and will continue with these efforts to reassure our health workers and provide a safe environment for them to traverse to and from work.
Thieves rob a Western Union outlet in Runaway Bay. The St. Anne police have launched a manhunt for two armed robbers who attacked a Western Union and a Cambia outlet in Runaway Bay on Wednesday afternoon. The Woodlums made off with approximately $2 million in cash. It is reported that about 12:23 p.m., two masked gunmen entered the Western Union outlet located in Salem, pointed guns at the cashier and demanded money. The news was informed that one of the men used a hammer to break the glass shield at the cashier counter and grabbed the cash. The cashier was then kidnapped by the hoodlums in their escape, but she was released unharmed a short distance from the crime scene. The news spoke with the director of the Western Union outlet, who said there was a gun battle between the gunmen and the licensed firearm holder after the robbers held the owner and the cashier at gunpoint.
When they were refused initially, they threatened the worker. They also threatened the owner. Upon trying to escape, they were accosted by the owner's father, who exchanged gunfire with them. They subsequently kidnapped, I would say, the worker and took her some meters down the road before she was released. They left behind a magazine.
PNP reiterates displeasure with a continual use of SOEs. Opposition leader and the president of the People's National Party, Mark Golding, is reiterating the parliamentary opposition's stance that the continued use of states of emergency is not a valid crime-fighting strategy. Mr. Golding says that while the PNP understands the need for the government to respond strongly to the upsurge of violence in Salt Springs, St. James, the party believes a zone of special operations would be a more effective strategy.
The states of emergency, as you know, we do not think that they can be validly used as a policing tool. And they haven't worked because the crime problem in the country continues. What we need is social interventions to redirect youth at risk away from crime, and we need serious strategies for law enforcement to ensure that hardened criminals, violence producers are effectively addressed and cases are built that can hold them accountable and ultimately put them behind bars for long periods of time. And we're committed to that balanced strategy.
Prime Minister to answer more Integrity Commission questions on statutory declarations. The Integrity Commission has asked Prime Minister Andrew Holness to respond to a second set of questions concerning his statutory declarations the certification of which has remained outstanding for 2 consecutive years. Holness made the disclosure during yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing at a Jamaica House, where he noted that he would seek to respond to the anti-corruption body by tomorrow. They have written to me asking various questions. I have provided answers, and they have written to me again, and I am in the process of providing those answers, the Prime Minister said in response to a question from Television Jamaica's Jamila Maitland. Holness, who noted that he has had to be very frugal with his time, said it was to be appreciated that it would take time for him to set aside days to vet the questions and to respond. I hope to be able to respond to them before the end of this week, so I am hopeful that they will do their work and provide the nation with the necessary certification, Holness said. The Prime Minister said his often silence on matters related to the Integrity Commission should not be interpreted as him not wanting to address the issue of his filings. He said his silence is maintained out of a need to protect the country's laws and institutions. So I'm hopeful that in short order, this matter will be resolved, he said, adding that follow-up questions from the Integrity Commission were routine. Holness also declared that it was not unprecedented for the Commission to take a long time to certify his statutory declarations. I suspect as a Prime Minister, they would want to be very detailed in what they do. I would hope that there is no difference in my treatment than given to others. I would not want to think so, he said. The Commission in its 2022 annual report said the third schedule is its primary data collection tool, which aids with the determination of a declarant's net worth to ensure that any growth in assets or reduction in liabilities are sufficiently supported by legitimate income. It said that the legitimacy of the assets, liabilities, and the income declared by declarants must be validated by the Commission's research and the third-party verification processes in the first instance to ensure that there is no concealment. Succinctly put, the Commission must ensure that there is no illicit enrichment prior to certifying a statutory declaration, it said. In May, the Prime Minister expressed a concern that the 2021 document that reveals his income, assets, and liabilities had not been published by the Commission. He said then that he was in the dark as to what was preventing the Commission from publishing his statutory declaration, which is a requirement under the law. Holness told the journalist at the press conference that he remained concerned. The Integrity Commission maintained that it was not in a position to certify the Prime Minister's declaration. Policeman charged for beating up schoolboy. A policeman who is now on interdiction notice may have to compensate a schoolboy thousands of dollars after a punch caused great damage to the child's face and mouth. Marlon Morris is charged on an indictment for assault occasioning actual bodily harm following investigations conducted by the Independent Commission of Investigations in relation to an incident at Halfway Tree Transport Center. It was shared in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday that Morris, who was on duty at the transport center, noticed the 2 schoolboys exchanging a knife. The student who received the knife ran away and the complainant was apprehended. It is alleged that the complainant was slapped by Morris on his leg with an iron baton and then punched in the face, which started to bleed profusely. When the matter was mentioned, Attorney-at-Law Matthew Hyatt, who is watching proceedings on behalf of the complainant, informed the court that his client will have to undergo further treatment and possibly facial surgery to correct the injuries he sustained. He added that the surgery was based on recommendation of specialists at the Fossa Surgical Associates located on Hope Road, St. Andrew. However, a figure was not shared in court. The matter was adjourned until February 13, 2024 for the figure of compensation to be determined. Woman threatens to chop off son's head. A corporate area woman allegedly threatened to chop off the head of her 10-year-old son if his behavior at school continues to deteriorate. The mother reportedly issued the threat shortly after allegedly using a cleaver to chop the boy on his arm twice. She has been charged with unlawful wounding and child abuse. It was shared in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday that there was a situation at the school involving the child and the teacher did not like the response he gave. The teacher contacted the mother and made a report about the child. When the child arrived at home, Residents could hear the woman airing her frustration about his behavior. The mother allegedly used a chopper to chop him twice on the hand, which caused a wound that bled profusely. The child began crying and asked his mother if she would be transporting him to the hospital. The court heard that the woman said, "No, next time your neck me I go chop off." Further allegations are that the child was forced to wrap the arm in a merino, and due to the injuries, he was not able to bathe himself properly to attend the school the next day. Your Honor, she didn't even bring the child to the doctor, the prosecutor pressed. A family friend noticed the child at his mother's stall in downtown Kingston with his hand wrapped in a bloodied handkerchief. The friend contacted the boy's father and informed him to meet the child at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, where he received medical attention. Shocked by the allegations, presiding judge Carlo Mason was appalled when he was informed that the accused was offered a $60,000 station bail. That is a paltry sum given the allegations, he said, before increasing the bail offer and imposing conditions. The woman was offered $150,000 bail with at least 2 sureties and is to report to the police once weekly. She is also to have supervised the visit with the complainant. She was made the subject of a fingerprint order and is to return to court on January 17, 2024, when the matter is set for mention.